Hello everyone and welcome to another Plotly Dash video. In this video, we're going to be jumping into how to integrate AIs into the applications that we're building out, allowing more functionality, allowing them to scale into the 21st century of software development, and just being more useful in practice and help them stand out against the crowd of so many different websites and applications on the current market. So in order to integrate, we're going to be focusing on a limited working example. I built out this AI platform chat, which allows us to ask a question to each of the different AI providers. The major ones that we're going to be covering are going to be Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT. So we're going to be able to select whichever one we want here. So we could go to Gemini and we can ask it, can you give me an estimate of how popular Plotly and Dash framework is? And we can see what the response is going to be from the Gemini AI. So Gemini responded, and it says that Plotly and Dash is a highly popular framework within its niche, building analytics web apps. And as you can see here, it gives a lot of information in regards to that. It says it gets millions of downloads per month. The community is very active. The job market is frequently listing jobs and the desired skills. So this is a good indicator of Plotly and Dash in retrospect to the software development industry, along with just a response from an AI that we were able to ask and prompt and get it shown in our Plotly and Dash application. So there's a few more that we have here. I'll jump into ChatGPT, for example. I will just paste this question I have is how fast is the Python programming language growing? And we can see that we're going to get another response, but this one's going to be from ChatGPT. So it says the Python programming language has exceeded sufficient growth over the past several years. It's topping popularity rankings, increased job market demand, growth in community and ecosystem, education and adoption. So yeah, and it kind of gives the fields that it's growing in. So, like I said, software development is such a broad space. It is really good to focus in a niche, and I've built my niche around Plotly and Dash, and it has served me well over the years that I have been in this space. So all I'm wanting to do is I want to kind of give you the tools to also grow and expand and to create a career in this space, or just to launch your own applications and to be able to do it in an effective and a clean manner, which allows your creativity to just run wild and for you to innovate. So what I built here is an example application. This is all the code that you saw that was running in that application that I just showed in the AI chat. As you can see here, we have these API keys. These are going to be needed for us to fetch on each of these different AI endpoints. And the way that you can get these, I would highly recommend finding their docs and then looking at their models, because each one of these providers, these AI companies, they all have different models that you can choose from. So you could scroll through here and you can kind of get an idea of what the use case of each one of these models is and where its strengths and weaknesses is. But for this specific demonstration, I'm just using the cheapest models I can get my hands on for each of these. So I'm using 2.5 flashlight for Gemini. ChatGPT, I'm using GPT 4.1 Nano. And then you can kind of see the input and the output cost associated with that in the API. So you need to put in, funds to get these running, but you don't need that much to get started. You could probably put $5-10 per AI if you wanted to build out the same application, and you would have it for a hot minute. And you'd learn something through it. So this is going to be the Anthropic. So this is Claude, where I'm scrolling through here, and I think I'm using Haiku, which is going to be their cheapest one. But these are good references to kind of get an indicator of the prices that you're going to be seeing for the tokens that you're going to be spending in the requests and the response. So other than that, you sign up and then you basically find the API keys, and there's a lot of videos that go in depth on that. So we're not going to specifically cover that, but I will give you a quick rundown of how to properly set this up. So the best way to do this is to use environment variables, because it's a secure way for you to get the information that you need into the application without committing it publicly to GitHub, and so that other people can't steal your API keys and start running up a bill. So the way I do this is as you can see right here, I have a .env file. Below that, I have a .env.example file. This is similar to my .env file, same exact layout. But what I'm trying to show you is the way that an env file should be set up. So what you want to do here is you basically provide Claude API key. You can name this whatever you want, but it's typical best practice to just be descriptive and limited in the scope of the name. Like, you want to know what this is. It's an API key and it's associated with Gemini. All right. And then after that, you don't need strings. This isn't the same thing as Python where you have a variable and a string. It's a little bit different than that. You don't need to wrap the actual keys in strings. So just keep that in account. But basically, you're just going to paste your API keys in this type of format. So with that, we're going to go into the app file. I'm going to be importing the operating system. That's going to allow us to bring in the environment variables. I'm also going to be working with Dash and a few of the different components within Dash. And then I have Dash main time components and then Dash icon.py, which allows me to create little icons, which look nice. So underneath that, I'm initializing the API keys and bringing them into my Python file. So basically all I'm doing is now I am declaring it as a variable, and then I'm going to the operating system and I'm saying, hey, get the env and then look for this API key, which is going to be associated with this one right here. So that's what it's doing. So it's reading that API key and then it's providing it to this variable so I can use it in my application. So scrolling down a little bit further, you have to initialize your Dash application. Within the app layout, I have to wrap it in a Dash main time provider, and then I am basically creating a container around the section that I'm trying to build out. So it's a basic stack where it's going to be rendering the different components one after another. That's what the DMC stack does. But basically, I'm giving it a title. Underneath that, I'm giving it a response area. So this is where the response is going to be shown. And then underneath that, I have the segment control, which is just saying, hey, select whichever AI provider you want to use. Below that, I have the prompt input. So whatever input is going to be used within the prompt is going to be sent to the AI via this button right here. I also added this DCC loading to kind of indicate that the AI is working and that the application hasn't broke, but it's just loading in the information so that the user has an indicator of what is going on within the application as it processes the AI response. So underneath that, I basically built out 3 different functions. I have a Gemini API, I have a Claude API, and then I have a ChatGPT API. These are all formatted in the same way. Some of the props and the actual way that you hit on these different endpoints is a little bit different, but it's the same format. There's going to be a client and then there's going to be a response. And all I'm really doing here is I need to import each of the API SDKs from where they are located. You can install these via pip install Google Gemini, pip install Anthropic, pip install OpenAI. So this allows you to have access to this package, which is going to be used to generate the client. And then within the client, you need to pass through a variable of the API key associated with your actual API key. From there, you have access to the model, and then you can generate content, and then you basically pass through the model and then the contents of the prop. Now, this contents of the prop is coming through the actual function right here, and then it's going to return a response of a text. So, like I said, all of these they're a little bit different in the format, but they're pretty much all the same, and you can pause the video to kind of see each of these functions. So moving down, there's only one callback that I have, and the callback that I have has an input of the send button. So nothing in this callback is going to happen unless that send button has a click action taken into it. So whenever the click happens, then it's going to run through this. So other than that, I have state. State acts as a way to retrieve data or the variable or values from components within the actual layout, but it's not a triggerable value. So it doesn't like take in the action of a button. It's just looking for the input value of this actual ID. So it's looking for the prompt input, it's getting the value of whatever prompt you provided, and then it's passing that through the prompt through this function right here. So now with the AI provider selector, this is going to be which AI you're trying to use, and it's going to look for it, and it's going to say, all right, if you're using Gemini, then run this function, pass through the prompt, and then get that response, and then return it. And then if it's Claude, same thing, and ChatGPT. Now, if there is no prompt, then basically I just wanted to return that please enter a prompt to direct the user to actually enter something. They accidentally clicked the button without actually providing text to the prompt. So if they did put text in the prompt, then it's going to run each of these functions, as you can see here. If something went wrong, there's a catch-all. And then lastly, it's just going to format the response. So it's going to take whatever the response is, and it's going to throw that into the text right here. And then it's just creating this little card right here to just say, like, this is the response, put a divider, and then show the response as a DMC text. And then return that actual response content, which is going to go into the output of the response area, which is located at the top of the actual application, which is right here. So other than that, I am running app.run, and then I'm providing a port, and I'm saying that I want this on debug, and then we can actually run the application. And as you can see here, it's a clean way for you to ask any question. We will ask Claude one last question. How should I end a YouTube video? And we should see how I should end this video. Here's some tips to end your YouTube video effectively. Summarize the key points. This is a AI platform chat that we are building together. Ask viewers to engage. Please like and subscribe. Comment down below what is your favorite aspect of this video. And then call to action. Check out Plotly Dash and Dash Enterprise and all the other different videos in our playlist because they are very well made. And then end up with energy. So create something amazing, innovate. This is your time to shine, and the ball is in your court. So I'm excited to see what you guys do with it. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.